after taking down Miami tonight. That will do it from Intuit as the final buzzer sounds. The Clippers take down the Wizards 110-93 as they win their 25th of the season and improve to 6 games above 500. They sweep the Wizards for the 4th straight season. Clippers with a dominant performance, a triple-double for James Harden, 79th of his career. The Clips get 22 from Norman Powell, a team high. 16 of those came in the fourth quarter. 19 from Derrick Jones Jr. on 7 for 10. He started the game, though, 7 for 7. And the Clippers get 10 off the bench from Amir Coffey. Kawhi Leonard in his 6th game back scores 15 and goes for 7 rebounds. The Clippers improve to 5-1 when the Claw plays. Hopefully we will see him on Saturday. For Carlo Jimenez, big brother Jake Warner, Joey Kimball, our statistician, Adam Oslin, who is going to take over after this break, and Daniel West, who will take us to the break. Back in the studio, so long from Intuit. Clippers defeat the Wizards for the 8th straight time as they win 110-93 here at Intuit. See you in a few on your Clippers Audio Network.
Good call, Carlo.
Thanks, man.
You kept us in it. I got to say, Clipper Nation, that was a pretty poorly played second half. Kaylee may have put it perfectly. If yesterday was a good loss, this was a bad win. Now, you're taking the victory. Sometimes you have games like this where a team almost looks disinterested. They were up big in the first half. The Wizards had lost 11 in a row, now 12. It happens. Survive in advance. Look more focused on Saturday against Milwaukee. They'll have to be. And Kawhi did have 2 dunks. I need to see the one with the left hand again. Is that overly harsh, Carlo?
What?
Is that overly harsh?
You know what, Adam? I had my headset off, so.
That's overly harsh.
Well, it's not your fault. These ad reads are just sometimes loud.
Thank you, Daniel. I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, you're welcome, Adam. Thank you. Got you. Yeah, Harden 13 assists, but 6 turnovers. Clippers still with 18. I just thought the second half was really sloppy, guys. They look like a team parking the bus, as they say in soccer. It is the 6th game of the season where the Clippers have had a free throw percentage above 90%. How about them apples? I'll take it. That's how Harden got to 17 points on just 9 shots. Went 10 of 10 at the charity stripe. Overall, the Clippers dominate the Wizards here at Intuit Dome with the final score of 110-93, sending Washington to their 12th straight loss. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Oslin. Coming up, second half highlights, your post-game box score and more. But first, back over to your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Well, Carlo, there were times in the second half where I felt like the Clippers were almost disinterested out there as they were up by so much, and it led to some sloppy play. They still pulled through when Washington had it to within 12 in the fourth.
Yeah, I felt like Norman Powell really changed the flow of this game, Adam. The Clippers were struggling. They cut it to 12. They put Mr. Fourth Quarter in the game, and Norman Powell says, all right, that's enough. I'm going to score 16 points the next 4 minutes, and we're going to all go home. And that's about what happened. Hit a couple of threes, got a couple of layups, finished with those 22 points to get right back to that season average of 23. Impressive stuff from Norman Powell, who we know can score in a hurry. I think you have to cut the Clippers some slack today because of the schedule. You're playing your fourth game in 5 nights. And even though those guys didn't play last night, they still came to the facility. They made the drive. It's not as much. They go to bed late because it's an overtime game. Maybe not the same relaxing off day that you would usually have. Nonetheless, Adam, you get the win. And I think that's what matters. You don't have to play anybody really heavy minutes. No one played more than 33. Harden played 33 tonight, Norm with 32. And you look towards Milwaukee, which is really going to be the game that defies how this week goes for the Clippers. They felt like one got away with them against Chicago. Probably could have won last night. Should a couple threes not drop for Boston. Can you come away with a 3-2 record on 5 games in 7 nights? That is going to be key for the Clippers. Win the week is what they want to do.
Yeah, and while some may say this game will be forgotten in one of 82 in the NBA regular season here, and the Clippers, for the most part, were dominating, led by as many as 27. Still got a late push, only up by 12, where Norman Powell went off, as you mentioned, in the fourth quarter for 16 points. There were some good performances, and I think some good signs because Mo Bamba might have had his best game of the season shooting wise, 3 for 3 from distance. And that lineup with him next to his buddy, his friend in Kawhi Leonard to start the second quarter, that's when the Clippers really started to gain some separation.
They did. And Mo Bamba finished with those season high 13 points and a season high 5 blocks. Super efficient in his 16 minutes. When he's knocking down threes, Adam, his game really just opens up this offense. 3 for 3 from distance tonight was Mo Bamba. He came in tonight, Adam, with just 12 made threes on the season. So to knock down that many, a huge bump for the Clippers in this one. It was impressive that he was in the flow of the offense. And I think the biggest thing is activity defensively was great in this one. Ty Lue has obviously mentioned in the past that sometimes playing a backup big can be tough for Mo because backup bigs are sometimes like Nico Batum, small ball fives, or Kobe Brown, small ball fives. So impressive to see the Clippers be able to, with the Mo Bamba having a similar size big on the other end, find success with him in this one. I thought that was really impressive by this Clipper group. And overall, Adam, just cut away with a victory. Never closer than 10 since the 9-second mark in the first quarter. While it got to 12, overall, the Clippers never allowed the Wizards to really feel like they had an opportunity within arm's reach. So impressive stuff here by the Clips. I look forward to that game against the Bucks. The Clippers in the middle of 4 in a row against the East. With this win, Adam, they now improve to 8-3 this season against the Eastern Conference. They still have 3 of their next 4 after that Milwaukee game against the Eastern Conference. Clippers continue to dominate the teams out east, which is impressive when you consider the need for wins in a tight Western Conference. You have to take advantage of every single game. The Clippers did that tonight, avoiding anything that might spill over into that game against Milwaukee.
And they improved to 6 games above 500 in Kawhi Leonard's 6th game, just his 6th game so far this season. And some good signs from him with some explosive plays. Had his first dunk, actually had 2 of them tonight, one with the right hand, one with the left hand in the second half. How would you evaluate Kawhi Leonard's performance?
I thought he looked good today. I thought he was aggressive, accepted and met physicality with the way he was able to attack the defense of this Washington team. He felt like he probably should have had a couple more fouls go his way, talking to the officials in this one. But you finished with 15 points, 7 rebounds. He's always talked about, Adam, it's not shot making, it is moving. And he moved well today. It didn't feel like there was any point he was timid. He got his first dunk of the season. I mean, that's a positive off the left foot. Little rise and climb for a left-handed punch. Great to see Kawhi Leonard be active and come away with an opportunity to once again inch towards full strength. You said he was going to play 30 on Saturday, Adam. we'll see what happens.
That is my prediction. Still at 24 minutes in this one, but the Clippers, that's all they needed. They would win by 17 over the Washington Wizards here at Intuit Dome. Final score 110-93. That game on Saturday night against the Milwaukee Bucks, a true beast from the Eastern Conference, is tipping off at 7:30. Pregame starting at 6:30. Carlo Jimenez, the 4-5 is over. The 5-7 still yet to be completed with that game on Saturday. Great call as always. We'll see you back here at the Dome on Saturday night.
See you Saturday, Adam. Let's go!
I was waiting for it. Second half highlights coming up next. Clippers win 110-93 over the Washington Wizards here at Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Nice. I think I know. I think I remember that guy. So we're doing a Kawhi Norman Powell here. Thank you. Joey, thank you. Hey, Jake. It was fun, bro. Chad, if you haven't recognized by now, Jake and I talk in S 5 hours during the game, before the game, after the game. Just nonstop grumpy old men.
Put it like this: if I don't make fun of you, I don't like you.
Same.
So I really like you, bro.
Hey, I'm not surprised that Coach Lou is disappointed in the post-game press conference, guys. I'm telling you, I told you midway through the third quarter, I said I did not like the process of this game. If you were following my game thread at Follow Out of May, that was really disappointing, their play. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
Believe in Michael Winger. He's a smart guy.
They have a plan.
Yeah.
It's just a plan that's going to take some time.
All right.
You got to be patient.
We'll see you guys next year.
Yes. Have
I'm telling you guys, that was some really poor play in the second half. Clippers are victorious 110-93 over the Washington Wizards. They improve to being 25-19 on the season. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is the official post-game show of your Los Angeles Clippers. This is Clippers Locker Room. We got Clippers stock coming up in just a little bit. If you want to get on early, 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Let's get to second half highlights. Clippers led by 22 at the half. It was 63-41 Clippers. In the third quarter, Kawhi Leonard got it going. Kawhi was 6 of his 15 points in this ball game in his 24 minutes in that third quarter. But the Clippers left the door open a little bit. They led by as many as 27 in the third, didn't finish the quarter strong. It was 89-72 heading into the fourth. Things got a little bit dicey there. At one point, a 12-point game, but Norman Powell absolutely put on a show with his scoring in the final period. Norman Powell was 16 of his 22 points, a team high 22 points in the fourth quarter. And the Clippers would eventually hold on and win 110-93 over the Washington Wizards. I shouldn't say hold on, but it was a 12-point game. There was time. They needed those buckets from Norman Powell. And for the 14th time this season, the Clippers hold an opponent under 100 points, something that happened only 11 times all of last season. They win by 17 here at Intuit Dome over the Washington Wizards. Your final box score is coming up next. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. I gotta be real, guys. I'm not going to go so far to say it was a bad win, but it was an uninspired victory, is what I'll say. That's as far as I'll take things. We'll hear from Coach Lou coming up. I'm interested to hear these post-game comments. Now, tough schedule, fourth game in 5 nights, but, obviously a lot of guys didn't play last night, like Kawhi, like Zubats, like Norm, like James Harden, like Nico. Chris Dunn was still out. I just didn't like the focus. This was not the Clippers versus Brooklyn, where they just never let up. Every play was so professional out of them. I didn't get that tonight. First half was better, and it still wasn't great to me. Second half, they didn't play well. They ended up losing the second half by 5 points to the Wizards. That's not good enough to me. Like, you have a goal to win a championship here. You have a goal to compete in the Western Conference. If Kawhi is healthy, yes, those are your goals. You got to put Washington away. They get a day off tomorrow, but they have a really tough one against Milwaukee. And Milwaukee put the Heat away tonight. They won 125-96. So I'm going to say an uninspired victory. Coach Lou's apparently not happy either. Right? Big Bro's not happy. Joey's not happy. Bit of an uninspiring victory for the Clippers. They handle business in unimpressive fashion, but they do win by 17 over the Washington Wizards here at Intuit Dome. They will have to be better on Saturday night against the Milwaukee Bucks. Clippers ended up shooting, after they were about 52%, I want to say, at the half from the field. They dropped to 45.5% from the floor by the time the game is over. 13 of 38 from the outside. That's 34%. Their defense was good enough, and Washington was missing some shots to hold them to 34% from the field tonight. Washington's just 11 of 46 from the outside. They got them up. They heaved them. They just couldn't get many to drop. Lucky for the Clippers, because I don't think this was a sound, crisp, focused ball club tonight overall. They lost the second half by 5 points against Washington. Now, they were up big, 22 at the half. But, too much is given, much is expected. They had most of their guys tonight outside of Chris Dunn, and we were expecting the Clippers to maybe pour it on in that third quarter, and they really didn't get that separation. Now, they were still led by Norman Powell, who had 16 of his 22 points in the fourth. Vita Zubats had 11 and 9 in his 30 minutes. Looked okay, had a couple big throwdowns. Kawhi Leonard, 15 points on 16 shots. I've been telling people for years, I think Kyle Kuzma is one of the better defenders on Kawhi Leonard in the league, always has been. That was the guy they put on him with the Lakers. Kawhi's Kawhi, but I'm just saying, you live with Kyle Kuzma on him. He did struggle at times, couldn't get some foul calls out there, but was able to get a couple of dunks. His first dunk of the season came in the first half, a right-handed dunk. Then in that third quarter, right before he exited the ball game at the 24-minute mark for him, he had a dunk with the left hand after he was blocked on a dunk on a run-out by Kyle Kuzma on a play where I just felt like the Clippers were getting a little bit lackadaisical out there. It just felt like they could run out the clock. I didn't like seeing that. Derrick Jones Jr., I did like what I saw from Derrick Jones Jr. 7 of 10, 3 of 5 from distance, 19 points, 8 boards, coming off a career high 29 last night. He plays 26 minutes. I was telling you, after last night's game, there are positives and losses. Derrick Jones Jr. got up 20 shots, and I felt like he shot himself out of that slump. He did. Now he goes 3 of 5 from 3 tonight after going 4 of 7 from 3 last night. That's huge for this team. He had been going into last night's game against Boston 7 for his last 35 from the outside. And now over his last 2 games, he goes 7 of 12 from 3. Clippers win 110-93 as they also got 13 off the bench from Mo Bamba, 13 and 6. I felt like he played well tonight. That's a bright spot. But they have to be better on Saturday against Milwaukee, right back here at Intuit Dome. That will be game 5 in a 7-day stretch. Brutal schedule, obviously. Tip-off is at 7:30, pregame at 6:30 outside of Los Angeles. We are leaving you until then, but if you're listening on AM 570 LA Sports or at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side, do not go anywhere. We got Clippers Talk next. Bye, guys. See you on Saturday. Good call, Carlo. Back in a couple minutes here, guys. I don't want to be overly harsh, but there's a standard here, right? Got you. There is a standard. There is the right way to play all the time, no matter what the score is. Clippers have done that a lot this season. I didn't see that tonight. That's my issue. Am I nitpicking? Sure. You're trying to get better. Use every game you have to get better. That's how this works. I don't know how much the Clippers learned tonight, to be honest with you. That's why I'm a little bit frustrated. They won. Did they get better? They got to be in 5th gear a lot more against Milwaukee on Saturday. That's what I'm saying. I'm not looking at Washington as a game that should have been within 12 points in the 4th quarter, if I'm being honest. That's too close for comfort. That's letting your foot off the gas. No, I agree, Jonathan. They haven't had a ton of unserious play this season. But I'd say this game was won. So we'll hear from Coach Lou post-game. But by the midway point of the 3rd quarter, I'm just like tweeting out, I do not like the process here at all offensively. It's just we either hit a 3, get an ISO shot, or somebody's cherry picking for an easy run out. And that's how we're going to put the game away. That's not running your offense. Clippers defeat the Wizards by 17 here at Intuit Dome with a final score of 110-93. I'm Adam Osland. After your Clippers improved to 25-19 on the season, they did enough to come through in not very impressive fashion tonight over the Washington Wizards. We'll talk about that. There were some bright spots, but as soon as I started this live, people started to say, if last night was a good loss, this was a bad win. And that resonated with me. I was feeling the same way. Not going to be overly harsh. This is not going to define their season. It is still a victory. Bad teams beat good teams pretty much every night in the NBA. It happens. I just didn't feel like the Clippers won this game as much as the Washington Wizards just lost it because they're the worst team in the NBA. They have 6 victories. They fell to 6-37 on the season. They fell to 12 straight losses. This was not as focused of an effort like we saw against Brooklyn recently, where the Clippers won by 59. Set a franchise record. Wasn't expecting that. But when you're up by 22 at the half, I'm expecting a 30-point victory, a 25-point victory. I'm not expecting starters to have to come out back up off the bench cold in the fourth quarter because it's a 12-point game all of a sudden after Kyle Kuzma hits a 3 at the 7:41 mark. Did they respond the way you'd like to see them respond? Yes. Norman Powell layup, Norman Powell 3-pointer, beats Zubats floater, Norman another 3. They put them away. They did. They got back up by 22 within 3 minutes after it was down to 12. It's good to see they could find the gas pedal again when they needed to. I was just a little bit alarmed that they did have to go back to the starters. And starters means no Kawhi, obviously, because he hit 24 minutes. And yeah, they might have gotten a little bit complacent, as Yanni Tears said in the chat here at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. They looked a little bit disinterested. You're up by as many as 25 in the first half, 27 early in the third quarter. But often what we've seen from this Clippers team is they'll put you away. And they will get run for the backups. And they will win convincingly, handedly. They won't have to get Norman Powell back out there to play 32 minutes, or James Harden to play 32 minutes, or Ivica Zubac to play 30, or Derrick Jones Jr., after playing big minutes last night, playing 26. Amir Coffey had to play 28. He just played heavy minutes last night. Wasn't good process by them in the third quarter. To me, it looked like a team that was just trying to get by in the easiest way possible without really running their offense. Well, ISO, we have the better players. We'll take some threes and get some kill shot threes up and hopefully put them away without having to go downhill. We'll cherry pick and get a couple of easy scores that way. That's what I saw in the third quarter. I didn't see them running their offense, getting into their actions, playing with purpose. That's what I was looking for. The purpose seemed to be, let's just get this over with. Well, they messed around and almost found out it was as close as 12. It was going to take somebody getting ridiculously hot for the Wizards probably, but it wasn't out of reach at the 8-minute mark of the fourth. It's the modern NBA. That stuff happens. They're probably lucky the Wizards are this bad with how the Clippers played tonight. And they have to play much better in this against Milwaukee on Saturday. They do. They get that victory. Hey, I'll say, what did this game matter? But I still feel like there are opportunities to get better no matter who you're playing, to show some growth, to make progress, to become a little bit more sound with your game plan and how you want to execute, and just continue to build chemistry. I don't know if they learned a lot tonight. I don't know if they got better. I could be wrong. They come out and slaughter Milwaukee on Saturday night. What did tonight mean? Could have just meant fourth game in 5 nights. But I have a hard time going there with the excuse when, Kawhi didn't play last game. Neither did Zubats, Norman Powell, James Harden, Nico. They still don't have Chris Dunn. Okay. I think they had plenty of guys. They had most of the usuals. I was just hoping to see a more crisp, a more sound beating of the Washington Wizards tonight. And maybe that's getting greedy. They're a professional team, but look, they shot 34%. It's the Clippers' offense that I didn't like. It's not that they couldn't execute their offense, because when they needed to, they did. I just didn't like seeing them getting away from it throughout most of the second half and just kind of waiting for the time to run out and going through the motions. I would have rather seen more high pick and roll, more reps there with Zubats and James Harden. Saw some in the first half. Beats Zubats looked really good. Had a couple of fierce dunks. That second quarter, Mo Bamba going off from three, went 3 of 3. Maybe had his best game as a Clipper. 13 points, 4 of 6 shooting, 6 boards in 15 minutes. So there's something to take away from this game. Again, you know, we're here to try to do some analysis post game and not just say, well, the Clippers won, so everything's great. That'd be a pretty short show. Or last night, oh, they lost, so everything's bad. No. I saw progress by certain players last night that carried over. Derrick Jones Jr. got up 20 shots last night. That was the blessing in disguise. With all the guys out, he got up 20 shots and went 4 of 7 from 3. After entering that game, he was 7 for his last 35 from the outside. And then tonight, guess what? He had 19. Coming off his career high last night with 29, he has 19 tonight and went 3 of 5 from distance and 7 of 10 from the field. And really, he was 7 of 8 before he had to come back in. He missed a couple of shots. He was 3 of 3 from 3 before he had to come back in when the game was down to 12. So that's why I say a loss isn't a loss. A win isn't a win. You can build bad habits in a victory. You can have some good process and just get beaten a loss, but that good process eventually leads to a win later on. I hope tonight's loss didn't have them picking up any bad habits of coasting. It could have just been a tired team that feels like they've once again got the short end of the stick with the schedule. And it's the second night of a back-to-back, a 4 and 5, where they did go 2 and 2, and they beat the Lakers, and that's all I asked for. When I saw the 4 and 5 with the rescheduling, I said to myself, just go 2 and 2 with a win against the Lakers, and you're good. That's it. And that did happen. So, look, there's a lot to praise with this team. They're easily overachieving. They're 6 games over 500, and they've only had Kawhi Leonard for 6 games so far. It's incredible. I'm just nitpicking the individual game tonight and saying what I liked, what I didn't. And there was probably more I didn't like, even in a win by 17. But overall, I love where this Clippers team is at. I love what we saw at times in spurts from Kawhi tonight. And we'll take a quick timeout and we'll go through some of his plays. We'll get to your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. We'll also hear from Coach Lou coming up at Intuit Dome. After the Clippers win 110-93 over the Wizards, I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Kaylee's calling it now. Excited for the Dunn-Dame matchup. That's a good call. Dunn's been out with a knee injury, but from everything Coach Lou said pregame, it's not serious. That's all we need to hear, right? It's not serious. He's been working extremely hard. Cool. We got you guys till 11 p.m. Pacific time. Eh. If you think they're better without Harden, like I don't know what to tell you. Can somebody help Timothy out? Like just somebody. I can't do this tonight. I can't. Let me tell you something. They would not be 6 games above 500 without James Harden. They'd probably be lower than 6 games under 500. I can't tell you how much he raises your floor. You know how many games they've had 28 plus assists with James Harden? It's amazing. Oh, he just ISOs out there. It's like you look, well, how'd they have that many assists then? And they had 29 tonight. He had 13. He had 6 turnovers. I'm not saying it was a great game, but Clippers win 110-93 over the Washington Wizards here at Intuit Dome. They sweep the season series. It was Kawhi Leonard's 6th game of the season. So Kawhi starts things off in the first quarter by missing a step through. Then a miss at the 5-minute mark, but Ivica Zubac got the tip in. He had the dunk. I think he was letting out some frustration. He wasn't getting a call out there. They were playing him tight. They had doubles, and Kyle Kuzma was just really good. He knows Kawhi really well from his time with the Lakers. That was the guy they would stick on Kawhi Leonard. Long, strong, young player. Now he's 28, 29. Still good. And defensively, he seems to get up for the challenge. So Kawhi's getting frustrated and eventually has a dunk that made it 23-12 in the first quarter. He comes out of the game at the 4:40 mark of the first. Comes back in the second, starts the second, attacks a closeout, and gets to his fadeaway at the dotted line for his second bucket after the dunk in the first. Then he lost the basketball trying to go at Kuzma and Jordan Poole. I think took it away for an easy layup on the other end. Kawhi has a straightaway three-pointer, then misses a fadeaway on the right elbow in the second. A Kawhi bad turnover on an inbounds pass that's taken away by Poole, who hit a three. And Kawhi kind of put his hand up and acknowledged, yeah, that's my bad. That is definitely my bad. But he would hit a midi on the far side mid-post in the second quarter as well. And then in the third, Kawhi got a layup right away going right. And there was some explosiveness there. He had a DHO then from Ivica Zubac doing it again. There was an early timeout taken by the Washington Wizards in that third quarter as the Clippers got up by 27. But Kawhi did have a nice defensive play against Kuzma that was noticeable to me in the third quarter. I think it ended up with Washington getting a tip in anyways, but Kuzma was driving left and Kawhi was all over him. But then he got blocked on a run out where he thought he had an easy one by Kyle Kuzma. Kawhi was flexing his hand for a second. I'm not trying to worry anybody, but he looked to be fine afterwards. He would miss a fadeaway over Kuzma. Then he was short on a three, short on another three. It looked like the Clippers were just cherry picking as Harden found him for a long outlet pass, and then Kawhi had a dunk with his left hand. He wasn't getting blocked this time. It was a nice play. I need to see the replay of that still. But that's when he reached minute 24 for him. That was the end of the ball game. I thought it was a little bit up and down from Kawhi, but there were definitely some good moments just seeing him dunk the basketball again, because I think that's a confidence thing. Just feeling like, okay, I'm healthy, I'm good. And by the way, as I always tell you, he's a left-legged leaper, so he can still get up. All the injuries have happened to his right leg. This Clippers team it was an ugly second half. They got outscored by 5. And I mentioned Kawhi in the third quarter, but some of those shots weren't great process. The Clippers are just one pass possessions, settling, saying, you go get a bucket, now you get a bucket. They weren't playing hot potato with a basketball. They weren't going through their offense. And they let Washington back into it then, to me. Because they got up. There was a timeout after they scored the first 2 buckets of the third. Immediate timeout. First, it was a DJ putback dunk, then that Kawhi layup. Then there's a timeout. And Washington refocused a little bit, and the Clippers just got sloppy. That's what I saw. We're still looking for Coach Lou post-game audio here. If you guys like to get on, 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570. I think somebody called in from Chicago a little bit earlier. Just saw that dunk from Kawhi again with the left hand, beating the defender to the basket on that long outlet. But that's my problem is it was a lot of cherry picking. Kawhi just hanging around, waiting to get a wide open dunk. I will finish him in the lowest effort way possible tonight. That's what it felt like in the third and fourth quarter. We'll get to it. We'll put them away, but we're going to do it in a low effort fashion. We're not going to get into our offense. We're not going to just keep playing like it's 0-0. I thought it was noticeable that the Clippers weren't going as hard in the second half. But maybe some of that is fatigue, and I need to give them a break. I'm just looking big picture stuff and how you got to play. Now, Mo Bamba, if you're looking for the bright side in the 17-point win, I know that's funny to say. He had a 3 to start the second quarter. He's out there with Kawhi, and I've kind of speculated. I wonder when Kawhi comes back, is that going to bring out the best in Mo Bamba because they're boys, they're friends? You know, that stuff's funny sometimes. It can work like that. He hits a 3 to start the second quarter. Then he has a big block on Carrington. That leads to an Amir 3 on the other end in the second. Clippers are up 19. Bamba, another 3 off a shovel pass from Mann to make it 44-22 at the 8-minute mark. Mann also found him for a dunk underneath the basket in this game. But overall, Mo Bamba finished with 13 points in 15 minutes, 4 of 6 shooting, 3 of 3 from 3. He has been a career 36% three-point shooter. League average. He has not been that as a Clipper so far. In fact, coming into this game, as I look up the stats here, because it has been a little bit disappointing with him from beyond the arc. Of course, obligatory low volume numbers here. But coming into this game, he was 12 of 45 from 3. So now he is, 15 of 48. What's that put him at? So now he's at 31%. One game takes him from 27% to 31%, just going 3 of 3 in one ball game. So he still has time. And after last game, I asked Coach Lou pregame what he saw from Kobe Brown, because I thought he played pretty well yesterday against Boston. I did preface the question saying, obviously, Boston's the perfect team for Kobe Brown because they play smaller and have a lot of switchability out there. And Kobe Brown's a versatile defender, or at least he projects to be. And I thought he showed some of that yesterday. I thought he had a good possession against Jason Tatum defensively. Really did. Before that three-pointer made by Jaylen Brown, he had to give it up because he couldn't lose Kobe Brown. But I asked him pregame about, Kobe Brown playing the 5 in training camp and how much of that translated to that game and what he saw against Boston. And overall, it seemed like he was pleased with his performance, obviously. He had 11 boards. It's just the outside shooting is not materialized yet with him. Not in the G League, not at the professional level. And we talked about it pregame with Law Murray. And this is something I've been thinking about too. But his shooting isn't as necessary when he's playing the 5. It'd be nice. He could be a stretch 5. But it's really when you're playing the 4, because then you're playing next to a big who likely isn't a shooter. We know Ivica Zubac isn't, or at least we haven't seen it yet. Never know. But you have to be able to shoot the ball if you're playing next to Ivica Zubac, or else you're going to clog up the paint on the offensive end. Having 2 guys that have to be close to the basket. It may help you on defense. It's not going to help you on the offensive end. It may help you with rebounding. It's not going to help you spread the floor and stretch the floor and give the Clippers driving lanes and open looks unless somebody at the 4 and 5 can shoot it. So unfortunately, it just hasn't happened so far with Kobe Brown. Law thinks the shot looks a little bit flat, too much like a line drive shot, not enough arc on Kobe Brown's three-pointers. And I think he went like 0 of 3 last night against Boston. But that's something, we talked about this when they drafted him. The shooting has to be there from Kobe for him to get minutes. And I think that still is the case. But if he can play some small ball 5 where at least he can distribute a little bit and get boards and hustle and get putbacks, at the 5, it's not as much of a problem, him not shooting it well, because there's going to be somebody at the 4 who is a good shooter. The other 4 guys out there could all be shooters, or at least 3 of them. That's what it's about. So he doesn't play tonight, or he doesn't till very late in the ball game, obviously, inconsequential garbage time minutes. Mo Bamba plays, and that could just be because Jonas Valanciunas is physical and big, and it's a good matchup for Mo, and he played well. I just want to see if anything materializes moving forward here with Kobe Brown, because I thought he looked solid last night against Boston. And he played 38 minutes, 40 minutes. We will see. We'll take a quick time out here. We'll get to your phone calls at 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. If that's all we got, I'll take it. Unless I can find trying to find a quote. Did he in that clip? Good. So we got Ty Lue coming up, guys. Daniel West is on it. I see this quote from James Harden on making the All-Star game again, what it would mean if he made it. He said, quote, "It means a lot, man. Just the work that I put in individually as a team, the accomplishments and my numbers is good enough. I've been on the other side where I led the league in assists and didn't make it, so it would be an honor to me. I would love to be a part of the team." Obviously, no Clipper in the Western Conference starting lineup. Who we got? It's Steph, SGA, LeBron, Jokic, KD. With you guys till 11 here. I agree with Timothy about bringing down Harden's usage percentage, yes. But that's already happening with Kawhi. Guys, how many times did Kawhi bring up the ball tonight? I've been telling you this for a while. I told you it was going to happen. It has happened. Kawhi will bring down Harden's usage rating dramatically. He brought the ball up a lot tonight, too. Clippers win 110-93 here at Intuit Dome over the Washington Wizards as Kawhi has his first dunk and make it 2 of the season. And you know why that's significant? Well, Adam, he's a professional, of course. Yeah, he's 6'7". He should be fine to dunk it still. Yeah, it's significant because the last time I believe we saw Kawhi Leonard dunk the basketball, it was Game 3 in Dallas off that oop from Paul George in transition, where Kawhi had to go up and get it, and then he was hanging on the rim because he was afraid of dropping to the floor and the impact that would have on his right knee. He was noticeably hurt in that Game 3 especially. He was not moving well. He goes up for that dunk. He's hanging from the rim. That's the significance to me of him dunking for the first time tonight. Having that confidence again of the impact of dropping to the floor. He ends up with 15 points on 16 shots in 24 minutes, which is still his minutes limit. I made a prediction in the pregame show or during the broadcast that I think, I have no knowledge of this, I'm just guessing. I think there's a chance Kawhi and his minutes go up on Saturday. Now, that's all assuming he wakes up out of bed tomorrow and feels good. But I wouldn't be surprised by that if his minutes went up to 30 or 28 against Milwaukee and we get Kawhi Leonard in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't be shocked by that. But it's just an uneducated prediction. It's just going off of how many games in a row he's been at 24 minutes now. That's all it is. And it's a big game. And he's been really good against Giannis in the past, defensively. Zoo started the game off in goggles, by the way. That was a subplot to this game. The Zoo Vision era was short-lived. Maybe 2 minutes. He said enough. He didn't like it. Couldn't see out of them. Some guys just hate it. Anthony Davis across town felt the same way. And he's had a couple of different eye injuries. And it just disrupts his vision. Can't have it. It's just too unfamiliar. They've been playing basketball one way forever. They don't want to look through some goggles. Ooh, L. Frank was on the broadcast? I didn't even know. So he was right next to us over here talking with Jim Jackson and Brian Seaman. I wasn't paying attention to that. I'm going to have to check that audio post game. I did not know about that, but I record every game, and I will be listening to that later. But Ray said, of course, he emphasized the need to get him healthy into the postseason, talking about Kawhi. Let's hear from Coach Lue post game after the Clippers win 110-93 over the Wizards here at Intuit Dome. Coach Lue there is saying, play the game the right way. The way that we got the lead is the way we need to keep playing. This is what I'm telling you guys. I said it on the broadcast. I did not like the process in that third quarter. Coach Lue said they basically didn't play basketball the right way in the second half. I mean, so if you want to say I'm being overly harsh, Coach Lue is echoing the same sentiments. This was the Clippers doing the bare minimum, it felt like at times in the second half, to hold on and win this game. That's what I didn't like. That's how I felt about it. And Coach Lue said sometimes they do get away from what got them that big lead. They stopped playing the right way. Now against Brooklyn, they did it for 48 minutes, and that's what can happen. You can beat a team by 59, apparently, lead by as many as 64. If you play it right for 48 minutes. I'm not asking that every game, but there were far too many minutes in the second half of this one where it was just very sloppy basketball. Jonathan Ing said, to credit the Wiz, though, I was impressed. They were prepared for the hardened lobs to Derrick Jones Jr. They broke up a few of them. They did. Let's hear from Mike in LA before we take a timeout here. Mike, you're on Clipper Stock with Adam Mazen. Yeah, it's, you can look good in the loss and you can look bad in the victory sometimes. Yeah, that's the thing, Mike. I'm not. Tell me what you think about this. I'm not overly concerned that what happened tonight's going to bleed into Saturday, even though I didn't love the way they played. I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. A little senioritis. Like, okay, it's over. We got a foot out the door. And Mike, I appreciate the phone call. Let's do it again on Saturday night. I got to take a time out here. Always like Mike in LA, one of our consistent callers here. He's not concerned about Saturday or this game, you know, having the Clippers in this downward spiral or anything like that. They won by 17. No, the process was not good in the second half, but there was down to 12. They got it up to 21 in 3 minutes after the starters came back in. They said, okay, let's put it away. So a more serious, professional, focused approach on Saturday night is what we expect against Milwaukee. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll close things out here on Clippers Talk after they win 110-93 over the Washington Wizards here at Intuit Dome on AM 570 LA Sports. Tell you what, I'm going to pull that Lawrence Frank audio and play it on a Clippers Talk show tomorrow. I'll do probably sometime before noon. Give you guys a little scheduling update there. I'm going to pull that Lawrence Frank audio tonight. Apparently, Lawrence Frank said Ivica Zubac was pissed. He had to miss 2 games dealing with the left eye corneal abrasion. He said this about the trade deadline, quote, "We really like this group. We're always looking for opportunities to improve the team, but we have a long-term vision. But with guys like Kawhi and James on the roster, if there are opportunities, we will look at them." That is interesting. That's the way to approach this. If you can get some guys that can help you now and in the future, that's best case scenario. You can bring in guys that aren't just dependent on this year, that can help you in the future, regardless of what happens this year. Guys that can raise your ceiling this year and help you in years to come. That's best case. Yes, Amin. I've only said this like a million times. Thanks for listening. It's important to build good habits and wins, because even in wins, you can build bad habits that can lead to losses later on. But like, you think their offense went cold? They didn't run their offense. That's what I would say. They didn't just miss shots. Clippers win 110-93 over the Wizards. Here at Intuit Dome, I'm Adam Osland. We are live. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys that are calling in. Clippers are 6 games over 500 with just 6 games from Kawhi Leonard so far. And I called this an uninspiring victory because of how they played in the second half. And Coach Lou seemed to be on the same page with talking about how they didn't play the right way a lot of the time in the second half. Maybe you could say they were playing with their food a little bit. They got lackadaisical out there. I would say they were trying to do the bare minimum to beat this Wizards team in the second half after leading by 22 in the first half. And you just don't want to see too many instances like that. That leads to bad habits. That leads to bad patterns and trends out there. Amina Sean said, I thought the second half our offense kind of went cold. I was like, well, why did it go cold? They weren't running their offense. It was just Kawhi's going to cherry pick on one end. They'll hoist some threes. And if they can build up the lead that way, a lower effort way, they're fine with that. But they weren't going through their actions and playing hard and cutting hard. And I get it. You're playing the worst team in the league. But you want to play the same way no matter who your opponent is. That's the sign of a great team. And the Clippers have done that at times. They won by 59 over Brooklyn. So that's the standard. And they didn't meet it tonight. They still won by 17. And they come out, and if they're fully locked in against Milwaukee on Saturday, it's all good. I'm just telling you what I saw tonight. I don't think what happened tonight is some deep-rooted issue with this ball club. It could just be a one-off thing. It could just be 4th game, 5 nights. Saturday night, though, is their 5th game in 7 nights. Then they'll have 6 and 9. That doesn't get much easier, this Clippers team. I still am overall very encouraged with where they're at, of course. And they put themselves in this position because they typically do play for 48 minutes hard out there. So tonight is definitely the outlier, guys. And I think, I don't want to make too much out of this, but not having somebody like Chris Dunn who reinforces how hard you have to play every possession, just like Patrick Beverley used to, I'm not going to say that's nothing. I know they had plenty of guys back, everybody but him. But Chris Dunn is a reminder of their identity. That is a loss not having him tonight. It is. Hopefully he's back. He's had a knee injury. It's not serious. Coach Lou said that pregame. Hopefully he's back on Saturday because they could use him against Dame Dalla. In Milwaukee, they have been playing better. I'll do a full preview tomorrow, but they just laid waste to the Miami Heat. They handled their business tonight in a big way at home against Miami. They get rest off tomorrow. They get the day off tomorrow, just like the Clippers. There's no rest advantage. There's a travel advantage. Clippers aren't going anywhere. But that's a big game on Saturday. A measuring stick type of game. Giannis is one of the best top 5 players in the NBA and has played at an MVP level this season. It's just there's other guys whose teams have had more success, so he hasn't really been in the conversation or front of mind as much. Jokic, SGA. It's going to be SGA. But Giannis has been great this season. And he's still just 30. The Greek freak. Not exactly all grown up here. But tomorrow on the show, as I told you during the break, we're going to go through Lawrence Frank, talking with Brian Seaman and Jim Jackson. We'll have that for you at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side, as we don't miss any days. Tomorrow's going to be like 111 days straight. We haven't missed a show. This Clippers team, defensively, guys, they hold a team under 100 again. Mentioned it earlier, but 14th time this season they've done that. They only did it 11 times all of last year. I'm going to check to see if their updated offensive and defensive rating is out, and it is. So they're 23rd offensively after tonight. They're still second defensively. As the season goes along, obviously we're deeper into the year now, and the Clippers have played, 44 games. The numbers fluctuate much less. We've gotten that larger sample size. We're past the midway point. Now, as for the standings, this Clippers team, I'll give it to you because you wouldn't be able to hear Daniel West down the line. But unfortunately, the Lakers won tonight. And I said it last night. Outside of not pulling off that big victory against Boston, the other thing that was bugging me about what happened last night was all they did was soften up the Celtics for the Lakers tonight. They gave the Celtics everything they could handle. They took them into OT. And guess what? It led to the Lakers getting a big victory over them tonight, as predicted. They won 117-96. So the Lakers are still currently ahead of the Clippers in the standings. They're in the 5 spot, Clippers in the 6 spot. Clippers have one more victory than them. The difference in win percentage is it's better to have one less loss than one more win. Lakers are 24-18, Clippers are 25-19. So they're still right there. They've won the first game between these two. I think the second is February 4th, and that game is here at Intuit Dome. But the Clippers are a game and a half up on the Dallas Mavericks, who ended up getting a big victory in OKC. But Oklahoma City, still far and away best team in the Western Conference. They're 6.5 games up on the Houston Rockets, who are in the 2 spot. Memphis behind them by just a half a game in the 3 spot. Denver, a game behind Memphis in the 4 spot. And they have the tiebreaker because of conference record against the Clippers. And then the Lakers 5, Clippers 6, Dallas 7, Minnesota 2 games behind the Clippers in the 8 spot. Same with the Sacramento Kings, and then Phoenix 2.5 games behind the Clippers in that 10 spot. So things are as tight as ever in the Western Conference, and a winning streak or a losing streak can vault you up or have you free fall like Tom Petty down the standings if you're not careful. Needless to say, huge game coming up against Milwaukee on Saturday. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're in the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference at 25-17. Remember, after a slow start to the season. Tip off at 7:30, pregame at 6:30. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Carlo Jimenez on the call, Noah Eagle, what's up, bro? YG, Big Brother Jake Warner, head engineer here at Intuit Dome. Good hanging with Big Bro as always. We were talking some junk back and forth for about 5 hours, as we do. Of course, big thanks to Daniel West back in Burbank. The callers, the listeners, statistician Joey tonight. Clippers win 110-93 over the Wizards. Talk to you 6:30 on Saturday back here at the Dome.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Daniel.
Have a good one, man.
Good show. Clippers talk. I'll be here tomorrow, probably around lunchtime.